Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Best English Podcast. I'm your host, Sophia, and I'm just so thrilled you're hanging out with me today. We're about to dive into something super important for anyone on their English learning journey. Something that can feel like a real uphill battle, but is actually one of the most rewarding parts. You know the drill, right? You've been hitting the grammar books hard, diligently, memorizing those vocabulary lists. Maybe you're even practicing speaking. But then you turn on a TV show without subtitles, or a native English speaker starts chatting at warp speed, or you try to tune into an English podcast, and it just turns into a blur, like a really fast, confusing sound wave. It's that moment where your brain just goes, "Wait, what was that?" And you're left feeling a little lost, maybe even a bit bummed out. If that sounds like you, then let me tell you are absolutely 100% not alone. This is actually one of the most common challenges every English learner faces, moving from just hearing English to truly understanding English. It's the difference between picking up on sounds and actually comprehending the meaning, the tiny nuances, the jokes, and the context. It's the real gateway to feeling truly confident and fluent in those everyday conversations. But here's the really exciting part. Podcasts aren't just a good tool for boosting your English listening. They are, in my humble opinion, the single most powerful, accessible, and genuinely enjoyable tool you have in your entire language learning toolkit. And today, we're going to break down exactly how to make them work for you, turning that confusing blur into clear, comprehensible English that just clicks. We're not just going to talk about listening to English, we're going to talk about mastering it, about training your ear so you can easily follow conversations, genuinely enjoy TV shows and movies, and just feel completely at ease in the English-speaking world. So grab your favorite drink, maybe go for a relaxing walk, and let those English ears unlock. Why podcasts are your listening superpower? All right, let's kick things off with the big question. Why podcasts? I mean, there are tons of resources out there for learning English, right? So what makes podcasts so special? Why should they be a cornerstone of your listening practice? Well, there are several incredibly compelling reasons. First off, it's all about accessibility and convenience. Seriously, think about it. Podcasts are almost always free. All you truly need is a smartphone or a computer and an internet connection. You can download episodes and listen offline, meaning you can literally take your English lessons with you anywhere. Listen while you're walking the dog, doing the dishes, commuting to work, or just chilling on the couch. This makes getting consistent daily exposure to English so much easier to squeeze into your busy life. It genuinely turns those idle moments into super valuable learning time. For instance, you might be stuck in traffic on your commute, thinking, "Ugh, another 20 minutes. What can I even do?" And then a little light bulb goes off. "Oh, my English podcast. That's perfect. I can totally listen to Best English Podcast and learn something new before my day even begins." It's passive time turned into active learning. Secondly, and this is a huge one for me, authenticity. Unlike a lot of those structured lessons that might use really simplified or even slightly artificial dialogues, podcasts are just bursting with real spontaneous conversations. You'll hear native speakers interacting naturally, using slang idioms, pauses, repetitions, and all that glorious, beautiful messiness of real-life language. This is how people actually speak, not just how a textbook tells you they should speak. Getting exposed to this kind of genuine communication is truly priceless for really understanding English in its natural habitat. You'll pick up on things you just won't find in a grammar book, trust me. Just to show you what I mean about a typical English textbook dialogue, "Hello, John. How are you today?" And the response is, "I am fine, Sarah." "Thank you. How are you?" It's clear but a little stiff, right? Now compare that to how two friends might genuinely chat on a podcast. You might hear one say, "Hey man, how's it hangin'?" And the other might reply, "Oh, just chillin'. Had a totally crazy morning though. My alarm just completely bailed on me." And then the first person might add, "No way. That's the absolute worst. Did you like to snooze through it for ages?" See, that's real English packed with natural rhythm and common expressions. Podcasts immerse you in this kind of dynamic living language. The third variety is the spice of life, and podcasts offer an endless buffet of it. Seriously, whatever you're interested in, from true crime to cooking, from astrophysics to pop culture, from history to self-improvement, there's definitely a podcast out there for it. This means you can learn English while immersing yourself in topics you genuinely care about. When you're interested, you're naturally more engaged. When you're engaged, you're more motivated. And motivated learners, well, they're the successful ones. It stops feeling like a chore and starts feeling like an exciting way to learn about what you love, all while boosting your English. And finally, and this is that really unique benefit we touched on earlier, the absence of visuals. While movies and TV shows are fantastic for context, they can sometimes let us off the hook a bit. We might subconsciously rely on facial expressions, body language, or what's happening on screen to help us understand. Podcasts strip all that away. It's just you and the sound. And while that might feel a tiny bit intimidating at first, it's actually incredibly effective for really training your ear to pick out individual words, separate sounds, and process meaning based purely on what you hear. It truly sharpens your auditory processing skills like almost nothing else. So when you combine their incredible convenience, undeniable authenticity, mind-blowing variety, and their unique ability to focus your auditory senses, it's crystal clear why podcasts are such a goldmine for improving your English listening. Choosing your perfect podcast match. All right, so we're all on board that podcasts are amazing. But how do you actually choose the right ones for you? Because with millions of podcasts out there, finding your perfect match can feel a little bit overwhelming, right? This definitely isn't a one-size-fits-all situation. Your ideal podcast really depends on your current skills and what genuinely interests you. My first big piece of advice here is to match your English level. This is absolutely foundational. If you're a beginner, please resist the urge to jump straight into a super fast-paced native speaker news podcast. You'll just get frustrated. Instead, actively look for podcasts specifically designed for English learners. These shows typically feature hosts who speak slower, articulate more clearly, use simpler vocabulary, and, this is crucial, they often provide transcripts. Think of shows with titles like English for Beginners or Slow English News. They're intentionally crafted to be comprehensible input. Imagine a beginner podcast host might say something like this very clearly and slowly. "Hello. Welcome. Today we will talk about your morning routine. I woke up at 7 o'clock, then I drink coffee. This is my first step of the day." See how simple and clear that is? Perfect for getting comfortable. For intermediate learners, you can start to bridge the gap. Look for podcasts that might be slightly faster, more conversational, and cover a wider range of topics. Many general knowledge or interview-style podcasts with clear hosts can work really well here. You're aiming for something that pushes you a little bit beyond your comfort zone, but isn't so difficult you understand less than 50%. For example, an intermediate podcast might have a conversation where one host says, "So, what's your take on remote work these days? It's changing things, isn't it?" And the other might reply, "Oh, that's a hot topic. I think it has its pros and cons. The flexibility it offers is a total game changer." Here, you're hearing more natural speed and expressions like hot topic. And for advanced learners, the world is truly your oyster. You can dive into pretty much any native speaker podcast that aligns with your personal interests. This is where you can start to fine-tune your ear to specific regional accents, even faster speech, nuanced humor, and highly specialized vocabulary. Don't limit yourself. Try podcasts from different English-speaking countries to expose yourself to various accents like British Australian or Canadian English. Secondly, and I can't stress this enough, choose podcasts based on your interests. If you force yourself to listen to something truly boring, you simply won't stick with it. Do you absolutely love true crime? Go find a true crime podcast. Are you fascinated by ancient history? There are thousands of history podcasts waiting for you. When you're genuinely interested in the topic, your brain is naturally more engaged, you're more motivated, and you'll automatically pick up vocabulary related to your passions. It completely stops feeling like studying. Finally, take a moment to consider the audio quality and the host's voice. A podcast with really poor audio quality, lots of distracting background noise, muffled voices, or inconsistent volume can be incredibly frustrating. Look for shows with clear, crisp sound. And while it's subjective, try to find a host whose voice you genuinely enjoy listening to. Some voices are simply more engaging or easier to understand than others, and that can make a huge difference in your willingness to spend hours with them. So, do a little research experiment, and don't be afraid to try different podcasts until you find your perfect listening companions. It's an exploration. Active listening strategies. Your roadmap to comprehension. All right, now for the main event. This is where we talk about active listening strategies. This is where we move beyond just passively letting English wash over you and start to truly engage with what you're hearing. This is where the real transformation happens, where that blur starts to become crystal clear. Don't just listen once, listen multiple times. This is such a simple yet profoundly effective technique. Think of it like peeling an onion layer by layer, revealing more understanding each time. First, listen. Your primary goal here is simply to get the gist, the main idea. Don't worry about catching every single word or phrase. Just try to understand the overall topic. This really helps reduce that initial anxiety about not catching everything. Second, listen. Now you can zoom in a bit more, focus on details, try to pick out new vocabulary or tricky phrases that stand out to you. You might be genuinely surprised how much more you understand this time around. Third, listen, or more. This is where you can get really granular. Focus on specific aspects like pronunciation, intonation, or even subtle grammatical structures. How are words linked together when spoken quickly? This deep dive truly helps train your ear for the subtleties of native speech. For example, imagine listening to a short news report. unprecedented rainfall across the region, leading to significant flooding in low-lying areas. Residents are advised to seek higher ground. On your first listen, you might just get rain flooding. Advised to go up, but on the second listen, you'd likely pick up phrases like unprecedented rainfall and low-lying areas. On the third, you might focus on the natural flow of seek higher ground. It's amazing how much you uncover each time. Use transcripts as your secret weapon. I honestly cannot emphasize this enough, especially for beginner and intermediate learners. Transcripts are pure gold. Many learning podcasts provide them. They create a crucial bridge between the sounds you hear and the words you see. Here's a powerful multi-step process for using transcripts. Listen first, no transcript. Get that initial gist. Listen and read along with transcript. Play the audio and follow along. This is magical because it directly connects the sounds you're hearing to the written words. Pause and look up. If you encounter unfamiliar words or phrases while reading along, pause, look them up, and make a note. Listen again. No transcript. After understanding the transcript, listen one more time without it. You'll be absolutely amazed at how much more you understand. This method is incredibly effective for expanding your vocabulary in context and genuinely improving your comprehension. Practice shadowing. Become a parrot but a smart one. Shadowing is a fantastic technique that boosts both your listening comprehension and your pronunciation. It involves listening to a short phrase or sentence and then immediately trying to repeat it exactly as you heard it. The goal is to mimic the intonation, the rhythm, and even the speed of the speaker. How to do it. Play a short sentence from the podcast, maybe just 3 to 5 seconds long. Pause the audio, then try to mimic the speaker's pronunciation, intonation, rhythm, and speed. The goal isn't just to say the words correctly, but to sound like the speaker. As you get more comfortable, you can even try to speak along simultaneously with the speaker. Benefits. This physically trains your mouth and brain to produce English sounds, more naturally helps you internalize those tricky intonation patterns, and forces you to focus incredibly intently on the incoming audio. Let's try a quick one together. Listen carefully to this phrase. It's really nice to meet you. Now, pause the audio and repeat that phrase, trying to sound exactly like the speaker. Pay close attention to how nice to meet you often flows together, almost sounding like nice to meet ya. Excellent. That's the power of shadowing in action. Take notes, but don't overdo it. Keep a small, dedicated English listening journal, or simply use a notes app on your phone. When you hear something particularly useful, a new vocabulary word, a clever phrase, a common idiom, jot it down. Please don't try to write down every single word. Focus on what genuinely stands out to you, what you think you might actually use yourself, or what clarifies a point you were confused about. The goal is active engagement, not transcription. Crucially, make sure you review these notes regularly. Transfer them to flashcards or a spaced repetition app. This actively moves new words from your short-term memory to your long-term memory. Summarize what you hear. After listening to a segment or an entire episode, pause the audio and try to summarize what you just heard. How to do it. You can do this out loud to yourself. Don't worry if it feels a little silly at first. Record yourself speaking. Tell a language partner or even write a short summary in English. Benefits. This activity forces your brain to actively process the information, organize it, and then articulate it in coherent English sentences. It's a fantastic way to check your comprehension and simultaneously strengthen your speaking and writing skills. For instance, imagine you just finished listening to a 5-minute podcast segment about the benefits of taking short breaks during your workday. Now hit pause and try to summarize it in about 30 seconds out loud. You might say something like, "Okay, so the podcast was talking about how taking short breaks like 5 minutes can actually make you more productive. It said it helps you stay focused and reduces stress, so it's good for your work and your brain." Perfect! You've captured the essence and main points. Focus on specific areas. Instead of just general listening, try to set a specific goal for some of your listening sessions. This transforms passive listening into a highly directed, efficient activity. Examples. Today, I'm going to listen specifically for new idioms. Today, I'm going to pay really close attention to how they use phrasal verbs. This directed focus genuinely helps you tune into specific linguistic features and makes your listening practice much more efficient. Predict and anticipate. Even before you start listening, look at the podcast title and description. What do you expect to hear? What kind of vocabulary might come up? As you listen, try to predict what the speaker might say next. This active engagement keeps your brain highly involved and helps you build deeper connections as you listen. Visualize the content. As you listen, try to create vivid mental images of what's being described. If they're talking about a bustling city street, really imagine it. If they're explaining a complex scientific process, visualize the steps. This helps solidify comprehension and makes the abstract sounds more concrete in your mind, dramatically improving retention and making the entire listening experience much more engaging. Finding your audio goldmine. All right, now that you're armed with these powerful strategies, let's talk about where to find these amazing podcasts that are going to truly transform your English listening skills. You're probably thinking, okay, but where do I actually start searching? Of course, you're already here on the Best English Podcast, and we're always striving to bring you valuable content. But beyond our episodes, here are some excellent starting points. Your favorite podcast apps. Seriously, most podcast apps like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Pocket Casts, Stitcher, or Overcast have built-in search functions and categories that are incredibly helpful. Just type in Learn English, ESL, or Slow English to find dedicated learning shows. You can also explore broader categories like news or education. YouTube channels with podcast versions. A lot of popular English learning YouTube channels also publish audio-only versions of their lessons as podcasts. This means you can often find content you're already familiar with visually and then listen to it purely by audio on the go. Channels like BBC Learning English and VOA Learning English are fantastic examples. Dedicated ESL websites. Many websites are specifically curated for English learners and feature comprehensive lists of recommended podcasts. A quick Google search for best podcasts for English learners or podcasts with English transcripts will give you a wealth of options. These sites often categorize podcasts by level or topic. Ask your peers and teachers. Don't underestimate the power of a good recommendation. Join online English learning communities or forums. Ask other learners what podcasts they enjoy and have found genuinely helpful. If you have an English teacher, ask them for their favorite listening resources. Specific search terms. When you're searching, try to be more specific than just English podcast. Use targeted terms like Slow English Podcast for Beginners, English Stories Podcast, Business English Podcast, American Accent Training Podcast. And a little final tip here: don't be afraid to experiment. Try listening to a few different podcasts until you find a host whose voice you genuinely enjoy, a pace that feels comfortable, and a topic that truly sparks your interest. Learning should be enjoyable, not a chore. If you try one and it doesn't quite click after a couple of episodes, that's totally fine. Just move on. Overcoming common listening hurdles. As you embark on this exciting journey of active podcast listening, you'll inevitably hit some bumps in the road. That's completely 100% normal. Let's talk about overcoming some common challenges that learners often face when it comes to really understanding English podcasts. They speak too fast. The age-old complaint. Yes, native speakers can speak incredibly quickly. Don't let this discourage you one bit. Solution. Most podcast apps allow you to slow down the playback speed, e.g., to 0.75x or 0.8x. Please use this feature. It's not cheating. It's a smart tool to help you process the sounds more easily. Listen at a slower speed until you feel more comfortable, then gradually increase it as your ear adapts. Consistency is key. Your brain is still working hard to process it, even if you only understand 50% at first. I don't understand slang or idioms. This happens to literally everyone. Solution. Accept that you won't understand every single word or phrase. Focus on the main idea. If an idiom is crucial and you have a transcript, pause and look it up. Otherwise, just let it go for now. The more you immerse yourself, the more these phrases will start to make sense through context over time. I get bored. This is a critical challenge because boredom quickly leads to quitting, and consistency is absolutely vital. Solution. This goes back to choosing podcasts based on your interests. If a podcast feels like a chore, you won't stick with it. Find something that genuinely excites you, makes you laugh, or teaches you something fascinating. Experiment with different formats too. I feel overwhelmed by all the new words. It's easy to feel like you're drowning in new vocabulary. Solution. Don't try to learn every single new word in a single session. Set a realistic goal. Maybe focus on 3 to 5 new useful words or phrases per episode. Write them down, review them later, and then move on. Quality over quantity. I don't feel like I'm making progress. Progress in language learning can often be subtle. Solution. Trust the process. Keep showing up, keep listening actively. Sometimes you'll suddenly realize you effortlessly understood a complex sentence you would have completely missed a month ago. Small victories really add up. You can even record yourself shadowing periodically to hear your improvement. Different accents. You might find some accents much harder to understand. Solution. Actively expose yourself to a wide variety of accents. American, British, Australian, etc. Don't just stick to one. The more diverse your listening input, the more adaptable your ear will become. Your journey to confident listening. As we wrap up our chat today, I want to leave you with a crucial perspective on your English learning journey. Embrace the mindset of a fluent speaker even before you feel fully fluent. This isn't just about applying technical strategies. It's about your approach and your attitude. Improving your English listening skills isn't just about passing tests or understanding movies, though those are absolutely fantastic benefits. It's about so much more. It's about gaining the confidence to participate fully in conversations, To genuinely connect with people and to access a whole world of information and entertainment previously inaccessible to you. Ultimately, it's about truly feeling independent and empowered in the English-speaking world. Patience is truly your best friend. Fluency is a journey, not a fixed destination. There will inevitably be days when you feel like you've made huge strides, and then there will be days when you feel stuck. That's a completely normal part of the process. Don't give up. Instead, acknowledge those feelings and remind yourself how far you've already come, and just keep going. Consistency trumps intensity every single time. It's far more effective to listen actively for 15 to 20 minutes every single day than to cram in a long, exhausting 2-hour listening session once a week. Daily, even short exposure keeps your ear consistently engaged. Make it a non-negotiable habit like brushing your teeth. Celebrate every single small victory. Did you understand a complex sentence today that you completely missed last week? Did you catch a new idiom? Give yourself a mental high five. Acknowledge your progress no matter how small it seems. Positive reinforcement truly fuels motivation. Build confidence by consistently doing. The more you listen, the more confident you'll naturally become. The more you use these active strategies, the more you'll instinctively trust your own ears and your own brain to understand English. Integrate it into your life. Don't just make listening feel like a study task. Make it a joyful part of your leisure, your hobbies, and your daily routine. Listen to that fascinating true crime podcast while you cook or a thought-provoking history podcast while you exercise. When learning becomes genuinely enjoyable and seamlessly integrated into your life, it becomes sustainable, effortless, and something you truly look forward to. Podcasts are an incredible gift to English learners. They bring authentic, diverse, and convenient English directly to your ears wherever you are. Use them wisely, use them actively, and watch as your listening comprehension and your overall confidence in English absolutely soars. Before we sign off today, if you found this episode helpful, here's a little something I'd love for you to consider. Subscribe. Make sure you hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening so you never miss an episode. We've got more great content coming your way, and subscribing is the best way to stay on top of it. Rate and review. If you've got a moment, a quick rating and review on your podcast app really makes a difference. It helps other English learners discover our show and lets us know what you enjoy. Share the love. If you know someone who's also learning English and could benefit from these tips, please share this episode with them. A simple share can go a long way in helping our community grow. Your support means the world to me and helps us reach more amazing learners like you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Keep listening, keep learning, and I'll talk to you all next time.